Hi, this is the unloading of the flower paintings on large pieces and also some mugs following that stencil video I did showing how to pop the flowers to actually make them stand out a little bit more, because overlapping underglazes, the under ones show through the top ones, and in this one we had the stencils down so I could paint without getting that kind of see-through look where the flowers were. Even though I think those ones were really unique, it's kind of like comparing Monet to Manet in a way, where you've got the really tight painting and then you have the kind of impressionistic looking painting. I kind of think of it in those terms. But I wanted to try it with the stencils, so here we go. I'm going to show you the kiln and we'll see if they turn out. This was a cone 4 firing. So I don't use, this is a kind of intermediary temperature. I still do occasionally, but because the clay, it's B-mix 5, so it's a little bit under fired. It still works pretty well. Are they hot? Oh, those are a bit too hot, I think. So I'm going to wait for a little bit longer. Okay, this is about 20 minutes, 25 minutes later, and the kiln is now reading 140 something. So basically it was at 160 before, which is hot bath water. So but anyway, let's see what we have. Yeah, this is still warm, but it's not too hot to handle. So there's the difference between a stencil flower mug and the ones that you've seen before in the video where I hand painted the flowers. I think you'll notice how much they pop in that one. The grass just doesn't go through, basically. Now these ones, that one I fired without a stilt. This one was fired on a stilt, and there's no stencils on this one. It's just the hand painting of the flowers. And if you look closely, you can see the grass shows through the flower. You can see the brush stroke of the grass through the flower, and that's what I was trying to eliminate. It's the difference between, I think, as I said, a good comparison is Monet versus Manet, where Manet was very tight painting and Monet was very loose and painterly. And you can see that there's a difference in the way the flowers look. Much tighter when you use a stencil, but you can see it so much clearly, and so there has a nice quality to it, and both do. It's just a different approach. Here's an old one of my stencil mugs with what I call Nova Scotia mist. You can barely see it probably, but it's some ships in the nighttime sky with the fog. Okay, let's look at one of the big ones. All right, I think that's popping. You saw the video of me, I just posted this, of painting these. It's a bit hot to handle, but I think you're seeing enough detail in this to get the idea. There's no leaves showing through the flowers on these. It's a much clearer look. Let's see what else we have. I'll do the rest of the flower mugs. These are just painted, no stenciling on these whatsoever. And I did post the video on how to paint those. Daffodils and I'm trying to think of the name. I think it's hibiscus, maybe. Could be lavender, of course, and we have different flowers around here, wildflowers that look like that, purple lupin type things, basically. More just daffodils. There you go. If anybody wants one of these, they sell for 45 Canadian. I was asked to make these, so I know I have a customer who's waiting for one. That's why I just redid them. I still have some in the gallery, but most of them just have lupins on in the gallery. Nice little batch of mugs. Make us feel better for spring. Have your morning coffee in one of those. Or your cup of tea. Oh, that's cool. Cooler than the shelf. Oh, that's the biggest one. This was the one where I did just the lupins. I'm sure a botanist will tell me they don't look like lupins, but they're the flowers I have outside here that kind of have that look. They're all purple and pink around here. I'll take some better photographs at the end so you can see. Here's another one where I did the stenciling. Now my wife asked me why I left the marks on the handles, and I said, well, you know, I showed people how I did these, and the paintbrush hits the handle occasionally, and I like that. I like the freshness, the spontaneity of it, so that's why I did that. This one doesn't have the white flower on it. Where's the other one? I did one of them that has a white flower on the bottom down there too. I will do that again. I think that was really nice to do that. Because I left just one flower, I left white to see what it would look like. But I did like that one. There we go. More just daffodils, no stencils painted. I've been gardening all day outside. This is the first time I've been in the studio today. We're still in lockdown, so I can't open the shop, so I try to stay away from the shop because people see me and they think they can come in, but we're not allowed to let anybody in. Very nice. Cup of tea. Speaking of which, I have one right here. This is an old cat mug from the 1980s. And that's in an iron clay that I used to use when I lived in Ohio. It's cone 4. Got that from Tom, I can't remember his name now. It was a potter in Ohio. Tom, I'll think of it in a minute. Tom Finney. If you're around, Tom, thank you for that. I don't use that clay body anymore, but the glaze recipe is still in use. Another Nova Scotia mist mug. And right down to the last two big ones. Ooh. Still a bit warm. I wonder why the other one wasn't as warm. This is a bit thicker in clay, probably. Pretty intense painting with those stencils, don't you think? One of the yellows faded out a lot though. I'll do some better pictures of these. It's a bit heavy and hot to spin around. Alright. And this one is one that I painted not on the video, but I wanted to fill the kiln, so I figured I'd better do another one, just so I could fill a kiln when I'm firing it. This one's not as hot. So this doesn't have any red flowers. It's just the lupins and the black-eyed Susans. These big pots are $2.50 if anybody wants a big flower pot. Canadian dollars, of course. There we go. Oh. There, right. Let's lift you up a bit. Okay, so I'll post this video pretty quickly since it's not going to be very long. So maybe even tonight. So I'm hoping that the flower painting inspires you to try painting some flowers. Take a look at the shapes, use some stencils if you want, or just use the paintbrushes and try and get interesting shaped paintbrushes so you can simply dab and pull as I showed you in the video, because it's actually it's like a not a trick, but it's a sort of a craftsman-like style of painting. So there's a technique to it, but it's very simple. All right, so this is Vaughan Smith at Westcote Bell Pottery saying, enjoy making pottery. All right, thanks very much. Bye.